Okay, so this final video is just going to have a look at something called relative cell referencing, which is useful in a situation here where with my tax, which is at the moment is £10, I want to add that tax on to each of these items that have been sold. Okay, now let's just have a look at how we might go about doing that. So if we're going with the simple formulas that we were using last time in the last video, then all I need to do is select here in this cell and its formula. So I'm going to start off with the equal sign, and I would say, well, I want this total here of the bought product plus, so I missed that, plus the £10 of tax. Okay, and I press enter and I'll get £26, and that's right. Okay, now I'd come across to the autofill option, and what I'd want to do is be able to replicate that down to my other cells so that each item is now showing the total plus the £10 tax. So if I do that and let go, well, let's have a look. What have I got? I've got 12, 20, 24. Well, that one's still fine, but something's not working here. Okay, and this is where relative cell referencing comes in. Now if you look very closely at the formula here, you can hopefully see why. Okay, as soon as I highlighted that formula, it shows you which cells it's used for the calculation. So the first cell it used was G5. Well, that should have been there. The second cell it used was J4, sorry. If I come and have a look at there, oh, hang on a minute, there's nothing in J4. Okay, well, that's not right, is it? So if I press enter there, let's just have a look at the next one down. Well, that one's looking at J5. Okay, so you can see the issue here. This one's changing and we want it to change, but because Excel is trying to be clever, it's also changing this one as well, and we don't want to change this one. This part of the formula always wants to be looking at J4 and this particular cell, and that's where relative cell referencing comes in. How do you set up a formula so that when you replicate it down, only one bit of it changes and one part of the formula stays the same? How do we get that to stay the same and that to change? Okay, so that is where relative cell referencing comes in. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my original formula, my first formula, and modify it slightly. So I know that that one needs to change, but I know that J3 needs to be fixed. Now to fix it, all I need to do is highlight J3, and if I press F4 on my keyboard, you'll notice it puts two $signs around the J and the 3. That is a relative cell reference, and that basically means fix onto J3 and don't move from J3. So when I press enter now, well, nothing changes there. You wouldn't expect it to, but watch for what happens now when I replicate it down. So if I drag this down now, you can see each of these totals is showing plus the £10 tax over there. Okay, and what it means now is that when I replicate it down now, rather than J3 changing, J3 stays the same all the time. That's great, because if my tax rate changes, so it goes up to 15, everything automatically updates. Okay, so that's what a relative cell reference is, and it's a really useful feature of spreadsheets.